What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at again with another video. So we just finished watching Backlash. Shout out to everyone that was joined us on YouTube and Twitch. I know Dub would have been there for the beginning of the show if he could have, but he was at a track meet with his kids. And shout out to Mariah, Isaiah, and Josiah. They all got medals at the track meet earlier today, so that's where he was watching his kids be some All-Americans. So shout out to Mariah, Josiah, and Isaiah for killing it out there on the track field. But that's where Dub was, but he was able to check out the main event with me. So we're going to talk about this show, and overall, in my opinion, the show was actually pretty enjoyable. I was expecting Backlash to give us some solid matches, and they delivered, in my opinion. So we're going to get into beginning of the card and work our way to the main event. Took me some notes as best as I could, and let's get right into this one. They started off the show with the fatal four-way for the United States Championship. Jacob Fatu, the United States Champion, versus Drew McIntyre versus LA Knight versus Damian Priest. And what I liked about this match overall, in my opinion, is everyone getting a chance to show their offense. It wasn't just a couple people getting a chance. Everybody had a chance to show out, and I like that everyone had that moment for their character, for their themselves to show their dominance. LA Knight was able to start it off. LA Knight had a great offensive flurry on everybody at the beginning of the match. Then Drew started to pick up his offensive flurry. Then Damian started to take control of the match. And then we got to the face-off that a lot of people were looking forward to. That is Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. They finally had that one-on-one interaction. And this sequence that they ended up doing was fantastic. So, Drew ends up hung up on the top rope. I think Drew ends up putting Jacob Fatu on the top rope, right? Drew ends up getting attacked from behind by LA Knight, and LA Knight starts stomping the mud hole on Drew as he's hung upside down from the turnbuckle. Jacob Fatu is still up there. Then LA Knight goes up there, but he ends up falling down, and then that's when LA Knight falls down, and that's when Drew lifts up. Drew has that great core strength, lifts up while he's hanging from the top turnbuckle, and he's able to essentially suplex LA Knight, Jacob Fatu on to LA Knight, who's laying down. LA Knight gets up like nothing, bro. He gets up like nothing, and this is where we have a whole bunch of sequences. Like he gets up like nothing, he runs the ropes, he dives out at Damian Priest on the outside, and then at one point after that flurry of offense that he had, that's when everybody started hitting their finisher one after another, after another, after another. Great sequence. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." They showed out. This was a great way to start off the show. Then there's a situation where Drew is about to win. I want to say Drew ends up hitting LA Knight with the Claymore, and as Drew goes for the pinning cover, ref counts 1, 2. He's about to count 3, but Damian pulls the ref's leg and causes the ref to miss the count, and that's when Damian and Drew start fighting off into the crowd. So as they're fighting off into the crowd, they are over here by some production crates. And at one point, Damian is talking to the camera like, "Oh, this is," he says something to effect of, "This is something like easy work or slight work, or he's on his break or whatever." It's basically in response to what Drew had said at WrestleMania, where he tweeted just mid-match. That's basically what that response was to. So they're fighting. They get on this these elevated production crates. They get to the top. It looks like Drew maybe he's trying to suplex him onto these tables down below, but I want to say Damian Priest gouges out his eyes like Drew likes to does, and he hits a south of heaven from the high production crates onto the two tables down below. But the thing is, I think Drew ended up the back of his head missed the edge of the table. So it looks like the back of his head mostly hit the ground. So it seemed like he was pretty severely hurt. Don't know his update. Hopefully we'll find out as the night goes on. Hopefully he's okay. But that was a brutal spot to take on the back of your head. But they were basically incapacitated. So we cut back to the ring, and looks like LA Knight may have the advantage here. LA Knight throws Solo onto the announce table. He clears it off. He's about to go up top and hit the elbow drop because he hit a few of them on Jacob Fatu earlier in the match. But as he's about to, Solo comes out there and saves Jacob Fatu. So now LA Knight's like, nah, we're not having this. Then out of nowhere, someone ends up attacking LA Knight, and then the announcers basically, once they realize who it was, they're like, Jeff Cobb comes out of nowhere. That's who they, that's his name. I didn't know who he was. I believe some of you guys in the chat saying he worked in Lucha Underground and New Japan Pro Wrestling. So Jeff Cobb comes out there, attacks LA Knight, and ref can't do nothing about it. He throws him back into the ring, and Jacob, he's not really happy. He's more like confused. If anything, he's like, what the hell's going on? But he gets in the ring, he does his moonsault, and he gets the 1, 2, 3 on LA Knight and retains. But you can tell he didn't like it, because the entire time he's looking at Solo, he's looking at Jeff Cobb like, what the hell is going on here? I didn't really need no help. And I do think they're setting up something at some point. This is going to be the catalyst to get Solo to turn on Jacob Fatu, and Jeff Cobb is going to be now his new enforcer for Solo. So I think that's where they're heading towards. But overall, this was a very, very, very fun match. Great way to start off the show. Definitely go check it out if you missed it. Next, we got Lyra versus Becky Lynch for the Women Intercontinental Championship, and this was a good match. I enjoyed this match. This has probably been the most I've cared about Lyra's character on the main roster. Obviously, her having this feud with Becky has really enhanced that, and I enjoyed this. Becky started off the match very stiff, very aggressive, kept mushing Lyra's face in the corner. She was really trying to, just disrespect her and beat her up. As soon as the match started, Lyra started folding Becky like a pretzel. At this point in the match, had her in this, I wouldn't say, guess you could say like a somewhat of like a submission hold, but kept applying it. Thought that was very nice. And Lyra was talking her trash, which was good to see. Becky was beating up Lyra in front of her fiance. Fiance was sitting front row. As she went over there, she started talking trash to him, and then that's when Lyra started to turn up. Lyra hit a second rope suplex on Becky. Things are starting to look better for her in her favor. Becky tried to cheat by holding the ropes in a pinning situation, but the ref saw it. Lyra kicks out of the first manhandle slam. Becky leaves the ring to get a chair because she's frustrated. She gets a chair, but then the ref stops her to put the chair down, but it was all a plan to get Becky to go and try to expose the top turnbuckle on the other side of the ring, which she does. Lyra, Becky, she exposed the turnbuckle, and then she tries to throw her into the turnbuckle, but ultimately she didn't really hit it. I don't know if that was a botch or not. It looked like she hit the second turnbuckle, but not the exposed one. And then that's when Becky hits the second manhandle slam, but Lyra kicks out again. Becky gets frustrated as the ref is trying to put the turnbuckle covering back on the turnbuckle. That's when Lyra hits her finisher, but the ref is over there trying to fix that, and then she finally goes for the pin, but Becky kicks out. Ultimately, at the end, and I wasn't expecting this, I thought we were going to get a different finisher. It looks like, I don't know if Becky had poked her in the eye or something like that. But Lyra was holding her face, and she ends up reversing it and getting like a reverse roll up on Becky Lynch for the 1, 2, and the 3. And immediately after she won the match, Becky, she crashes out. She starts attacking Lyra, then puts the her submission hold to disarm her on her and doesn't let go. She's trying to break Lyra's arm. They get all officials out there to try to break it up. They finally break it up. She looks like she's about to run back there to attack her again, but the officials stop her, and it doesn't seem like this feud is done. I was expecting maybe Bayley to come out there, but they may be saving that for another moment. But I was surprised. I did not think Becky was going to lose here, but she ended up losing. Lyra got the win, but ultimately Becky ended up being the one to walk away relatively unscathed for the most part. Lyra looked like she was in an immense amount of pain, but Lyra is 2-0 against Becky Lynch, so we'll see how that plays out. Fun match, though. Enjoyed this match. Next match, Dominic versus Penta. Now, Penta, awesome entrance, of course. Love the Penta walk. He has a great entrance. But when Dom came out there, he got a pop, y'all. Dominic, even though he's the heel, he was getting cheered throughout this entire match, as well as Penta. But what a time to live in where Dominic Mysterio is getting face reactions. They were doing dirty, dirty Dom, dirty, dirty Dom. What a time to be alive, right? Dom had the early advantage in the match. You can really tell, his progression as a wrestler over the years. He seems more comfortable out there. Obviously, Penta is doing his part to make him look good, but he looked really good out there. Like, he looked like he belonged, and he's been improving, and I think everything's falling into place for Dominic. He was really doing his thing out there. So it was really great to see that, and I know his dad is super proud. Like, just to see how far he's come. He looks good out there in the ring wrestling, so it was great to see that. Obviously, you knew shenanigans were going to be a part of this match, and that's exactly what happened. Carlito comes out to distract the ref, but JD and Finn come on the other side of the ring. The ref is trying to get Carlito out of there, and that's when JD is holding up Penta, and he's telling Finn to hit him, but Finn decides, wait, let me go get a steel chair. JD's like, what you doing? And as in the process of getting the steel chair, that's when the ref catches him. Basically, Finn was taking a little bit too long to just go ahead and attack Penta, and it almost foiled their plans of helping out Dominic. So after that, Penta jumps over the ref as he ejects them out of there. He jumps over the ref. He knocks out JD and Carlito, but Finn moves out the way. So he gets back into the ring, and it looks like he's about to go up top to finish off Dominic Mysterio. Finn distracts the ref again, but then you see El Grande Americano come from the other side of the ring. Ref doesn't see it, and it looks like he probably has that little metal plate in his mask, and he headbutts Penta off the top rope. That gives Dominic the opportunity to go to the top rope himself, hits the splash for the 1, 2, 3, and Dominic Mysterio retains. Once again, El Grande Americano has cost. He has inserted himself into a match, and he is essentially, he's a thorn in the luchador side, especially in Penta and Rey Fenix. I do believe at some point they will be teaming up together, and I'm looking forward to that. They may end up teaming up to try to take down El Grande Americano. But overall, fun match. Not a bad match. I definitely enjoyed it. And you can see at the end as Dominic's cheering and, he's saying the best Intercontinental Champion ever. Finn's not cheering. Not really. JD's cool. Carlito's cool with it. Finn's not. The turn is happening. He's going to portray him. It's going to happen. The question is when and how does it play out? Overall, solid match. Next, the match I was really looking forward to, Pat versus Gunther. Now, we all said our prayers for Gunther because we knew he was going to get packed up. But I will say this, they actually made you care with this particular match. I thought it was gonna be like somewhat of a glorified squash, but it really wasn't. No, it actually was a he tried what they did with this match that I can appreciate. It wasn't a glorified murder that some people were hoping, but more or less Pat was, trying his hardest. Gunther is kind of allowing him to, get some offense in, just kind of toying with him. But there was flurries and moments where Pat looked like he was potentially about to get the job done. So Gunther at the beginning of the match starts tossing around Pat. He started tossing him around like a rag doll. Then Pat starts showing some of his moves, Pat has definitely wrestled in NXT a few times, so he's showing, he ain't no joke. Pat starts showing off his moves. At one point, Pat has a flurry of offensive moves, but then Gunther stops him in his tracks with one chop to the chest. It was done. So after that chop and Pat realized, he's in for a long night, that's when Pat tried to, hit Gunther with his own chops. He started going, hey, I can hit you with some chops too. And Gunther's like, come on, again, hit me with another one. It was like they weren't doing nothing. And anytime he would try to get some type of offense, Gunther would just smack him right back to reality. And throughout the match, you could tell, obviously, Michael Cole was going to be biased. Michael Cole was going to be like, no, hey, Gunther, I go ahead and end this. Like, he wanted Pat to win, but he knew that the chances of Pat winning this match was slim. So on commentary, he's like, hey, Gunther, just end this. Stop this. What are you doing? And Gunther kept looking back at him, just smirking and mocking him, like, come on, get in the ring, help your friend out. He's like, man, just end the match. Stop this. You proved your point. End the match. But Gunther, no, he was relishing in it. And crowd was really, 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 really behind Pat McAfee. They wanted Pat McAfee to pull off the greatest upset. So the crowd atmosphere for this match was actually pretty good. At one point, Gunther had been going, like I want to say throughout the match, he was hitting suplexes here and there. But at one point, Gunther tries to hit another suplex on Pat, but Pat almost lands on his feet. He stumbles a little bit, but he almost lands on his feet, and then he starts laying in multiple chops on Gunther, and it looks like he's starting to gain some offense, but obviously, once again, Gunther stops him. That's when Michael Cole leaves commentary, and he's over there trying to, plead. He's over there trying to plead with Gunther to stop this, and he wants, he's trying to help out Pat. I think at one point, Pat McAfee was in this Boston Crab submission, and he's trying to get Pat to come to the ropes, but that's when, Gunther is dragging him back in the middle of the ring, and finally Gunther had enough of Michael Cole's shenanigans and got Michael Cole ass into the ring. And now I'm like, oh no, he's about to pack up Michael Cole. It looked like he was about to hit Michael Cole with a powerbomb, but that's when Pat McAfee comes in for the save, and he basically is trying to help out Michael Cole. And at one point, Pat McAfee has Gunther in a pinning situation. Michael Cole ends up holding one of Gunther's foot. The ref can't see it for the 1, 2, and he still kicked out. Even though Michael Cole was holding his foot, he was ready to murder Michael Cole at that point. But then he focused his attention to Pat McAfee, and then that's when he finally puts the chokehold on Pat. Looks like he's done. Looks like Pat's about to pass out. But no, he fights through. He's trying to fight through to, get his second win. But ultimately, Gunther applies it again one more time. They fall in the middle of the ring. And Pat McAfee passes out. Fun match. Fun match. I enjoyed this. I know some people were looking for a bloodbath. But honestly, I think this was pretty entertaining. The crowd enjoyed the potential idea of Pat McAfee doing the ultimate upset. They love to see Michael Cole out there helping his buddy. Overall, it was definitely fun. I definitely enjoyed the match for what it was. And at the end, even Gunther, he didn't shake his hand or anything like that, but he gave him kind of that nod of, all right, you showed hard out there. I respect it. You came out there, you gave it your best shot. I respect it. He showed him a little bit of respect, so I thought that was actually pretty dope. Pretty fun match. Right person won. I'm glad there was no Goldberg or any other shenanigans. The right person won. Finally, we get to the main event. John Cena versus Randy Orton for the very last time for the most part. This was fun. The atmosphere was great. Crowd, loved him some Randy Orton. He's back in his hometown. The crowd was booing the hell out of John Cena. It felt like the good old days, man. This is nostalgia at its finest. Now, at the beginning of this match, it was slow. It definitely was slow. But the thing is, it was slow, but the crowd was into it, mainly because this is John Cena and Randy Orton essentially for the last time. So the crowd was into all the slowness of this match, but it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable, and it definitely picked up early in the match. John tried to leave, as the typical heel, but Randy was like, not letting that happen. And they know each other. So they were countering moves. They knew each other's move set. They knew what they were going to do, and I loved that history without actually having to say it. They knew each other so well. So this was kind of just going back down memory lane with these guys. Randy was putting on pressure earlier in the match as well to try to, slow down John as much as possible. John Cena hits an AA, but Randy Orton turns it into a RKO. I thought that was a nice transition, nice counter. Then Cena ends up hitting another, successfully hits an AA on Randy Orton, and Randy Orton kicks out. Cena went for the shoulder tackles that he normally does, but he ended up getting countered into a nice RKO. I thought that was a nice how they set that up. Randy went for the punt kick and got hit with the AA again. This is where we get into the obligatory referee spots. Ref got hit, knocked down, and then John Cena hit another AA. At this point, they were spamming their finishers, but the ref now becomes a part of the story of not being able to count the pin. So the ref got knocked down. Cena hit the AA, but he was down. So John is smiling because he knows what he's about to do. So John goes for the title, and that's when Randy hit the RKO while the ref was down for a 2 count. Then Randy hits the AA on the announce table on the outside, and then that wasn't enough. The ref ends up getting thrown down again into the steel steps. Then Randy sets up another table on the other side of the ring, and John's trying to hit him with the AA through the table. He reversed it and ends up hitting Randy Orton with an AA through another table. So Randy Orton hit John Cena with the AA through the announce table and the AA through a regular table. Fun. At this point, this is, everything you would expect from this type of match. Crowd's going crazy. We're going crazy on the stream. So after that scenario, let me see where I'm at in my notes. So Randy hit John with another AA through the table. Then Randy hits an RKO as they get back into the ring, and John Cena kicks out. Then, because another ref comes out there. Then Randy hit a RKO after John knocked out the second ref. So John Cena's been hit with multiple RKOs and multiple AAs of his own move. So after John Cena hit the second ref with the title on accident, Nick Aldis and the rest of the backstage officials and stuff, they come out there, agents and stuff, they come out there to check up on the ref. Instead of getting another ref to finish the damn match, they're like, nah, we got to check up on our boy. Randy's mad. John Cena's already knocked out. So he says, you know what? Fuck it, bro. He starts hearing voices in his head. They were talking real loud at this point in the match. And Randy decides to hit Nick Aldis with an RKO. Then everybody else that was in that ring, they got hit with an RKO. He hit everybody in the ring with RKOs. Everybody got one. It was so great. Great moment. Love that. Huge pop from the crowd. So after that, Randy's like, fuck it. I'm going to just go for the punt kick and kick his head into oblivion. But then R-Truth goofy ass comes out there for the save. Like, nah, don't do it. And Randy said, fuck it. Hits R-Truth with the RKO. So now he can focus back on John. But John moves out the way. Hits Randy Orton with the low blow. And then he picks up the title, hit Randy Orton with the WWE Undisputed Championship. The other ref, the first ref, finally comes to, he crawls and hit the 1, the 2, and the 3. And John Cena is still your WWE Undisputed Champion. It was a fun match. We knew Randy wasn't going to win, but it was fun. The chaos was great. We got to see multiple RKOs, multiple attitude adjustments. It was great. It was fun. Now, apparently, while recording this, Dub hit me up saying that R-Truth just got put through a table by John Cena. So I'm going to actually have to check that out, check that clip out, I guess, at the press conference. R-Truth got put through a table, as he should, because he's a fucking idiot. But yeah, I'm going to check that out. But yeah, this was fun. This was fun. Definitely go watch this match if you're a fan of these guys for the nostalgia purposes. And this honestly may be the last time we see these guys go at it in the ring ever. So I think this was a fun way to end off their legendary feud. And yeah, this was definitely fun, man. Overall, the show was pretty damn solid. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give this show a solid 8.5. I enjoyed it. It was fun, quick. This was I think maybe quicker than SmackDown yesterday. This was a quick show. We were in and out. Didn't take them too long. And I really thoroughly enjoyed what they put on. Looking forward to seeing how some of these stories progress. And it's going to be very interesting to see who will John Cena's next opponent will be. I know after the match, he, basically said he needs some more opponents to face or whatnot, but this is the last real champion. And CM Punk took a picture of that and he titled it on his story, For Now. He took a picture of John Cena as he was talking and he titled it For Now. So it does seem like John Cena, CM Punk, is on the way, and I'm looking forward to it. But, hey, comment down below. Let me know on the scale of 1 to 10. Did you guys enjoy this show? What was your favorite match? What was your least favorite match? And what are you guys looking forward to going forward into, I think the next event is Saturday night's main event, and then I think Money in the Bank. So, let me know how y'all think things are going to play out going forward. I appreciate all the love, support. Road to 150K. Appreciate y'all kicking with me. See you on the next one. Peace.